Hello, welcome to Story Circles. We've been presenting stories from all around the world, but this story is the very first we bring to you from Spain. It was published in English at around 1883 and it's written by a gentleman called Fernan Caballero. The name of the story is Juan Cigarrón. I hope you enjoy it. There was once in Spain a clever young man called Juan Cigarrón. He was the eldest son of a large family, and in seeking his fortune, he turned to magic. He committed himself to learning all the tricks of the trade. He gave himself such airs and graces that he deceived everyone. As you know, dear reader, we people do have an unfortunate tendency to believe what we should not believe. Juan Cigarrón played the part to perfection. Soon enough, people stopped doubting his abilities as a conjurer, and his reputation as a grand magician spread widely throughout the land. One day, there was an uproar in the king's palace. A great quantity of silverware had gone missing from the kitchen. Silver metal has special properties that make it very hygienic, and plates, cups, and cutlery made of that precious metal are very expensive. Indeed, the silver had come in Spanish galleons from the wealthy lands of the Aztecs, the Mayans, and the Incas, thousands of miles away. The palace guards searched the grounds, but found no trace of the missing articles. The king considered his options. His chief counselor advised him to call upon the great magician, but he also cautioned him, "Choose your words carefully, for he displays his skill only when he's in the mood to do so." Early the next morning, the king addressed the magician. "Use your powers to find out who has pilfered my silver. You'll be kept in the dungeon for 3 days. At the end of this period, you'll report to me. If you have no answer, you'll be hanged as a liar and an impostor." "I may as well prepare myself for death," thought Juan Cigarrón as he was thrown into the dungeon. "If I had known something like this could happen to me, I would never have claimed to be a magician." The young man was petrified. He thought of how he had been living a lie. As he lay in that cold stone cell, he repeated to himself, "Only 3 days left for me to live. Not one more, not one less." The truth was that the silver had been stolen by 3 of the king's young pages. They were the very attendants assigned to deliver meals to the prisoner. That evening, Juan Cigarrón could think only of the fact that the end of the first day had come. When the door to the cell creaked open, he was muttering in self-pity, "Ay, my dear Lord San Bruno, of those 3, there goes uno." The page had a guilty conscience, and he had heard that nothing could be hidden from this powerful magician. He said to his companions, "The magician knows we are the thieves. We'll be caught and hanged." One of his friends replied, "How could he possibly know anything?" And the other added, "You're not so foolish that you believe in magic, are you?" On the evening of the second day, Another of the 3 pages entered the cell with his food. Juan Cigarrón had spent the day sitting on the narrow bed, counting the hours and minutes as they passed. The page heard him say, "Ay, Lord San Juan de Dios, of the 3 I've seen 2. The page hurried out to meet his friends. "You were right," he said to the first. "He knows, and we'll be hanged." The seeds of fear had been planted. The next evening, the 3rd page entered the cell with the food. Juan Cigarrón's heart turned cold to see that the day had ended. "Ay, Lord San Andres, now I've seen all 3. He uttered the words with an air of finality. The page dropped to his knees. "Yes, sir, you are right, but please don't betray us." As the truth dawned upon Juan Cigarrón, he rose to his feet. His eyes were bright with relief. "Very well," he said in his most commanding voice, "but bring the stolen goods here at once, or else you will suffer the consequences of your actions." Terrified by these words, the page ran off to do his bidding. In the morning, the king commanded that the magician be brought to him. Juan Cigarrón entered the room with a pompous air. "Well," said the king, "do you have any news about my lost property?" "I do indeed," he replied, "but I will betray no one. I ask that your majesty be content with the return of the stolen silver." Yes, that is enough for me. Where is my silver?" Juan Cigarrón gestured grandly towards the doorway. "Have your men go to the dungeon where I was held. There they will find it all." And this was done immediately. On setting his eyes on the gleaming treasure, the king was struck with admiration for the magician's ability. How grand it would be to have this conjurer live at the castle. "You will stay here," he ordered. "You are hereby appointed chief magician, royal diviner." Juan Cigarrón concealed his dismay. His success had been due to sheer coincidence, yet no one said no to the king. With a sense of impending doom, he pondered his future. What impossible task might the king require of him? How soon would that be? He feared that he would surely be exposed as a fraud. Nevertheless, he lived comfortably at the castle, keeping to himself as much as he could. The day came when the king was walking in his gardens. His mind was on the ship laden with West Indian tobacco that had just arrived from Cuba and Hispaniola. While walking, he recalled the amazing recovery of his silver, and it struck him that the magician could provide a moment's entertainment. The king presented himself at Juan Cigarrón's door. Without wasting any time, His Majesty held up a closed hand and said, "Well, sir, use your spectacular powers and tell me what is this that I have in my hand." The chief magician began to sweat. He wanted to be free of the identity he had built for himself. Without pausing to reconsider, he blurted out, "So, the game is up. Cigarrón is in your hands now." "Yes, it is indeed a large cigar." The king opened his fist to reveal a fat Cuban cigar. He chuckled in delight. "You're 100% correct. Ask of me what you will. It will be granted." Coincidence had once again saved his life. This time, Juan Cigarrón answered with care, "Sir, I'm ready to put aside these magician's robes. It is time for me to return to a simple life in the countryside. Grant me this, please. It is my only wish." "Very well," said the king with some regret. "I will honor my promise. You may leave whenever you like." Free of the burden of living a lie and wondering at a king who would believe in magic, Juan Cigarrón made his way back to his parents' village. And that was the story of Juan Cigarrón. I hope you enjoyed it. Please click like, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you.